Well, if you're watching this, it means it uploaded, and finally, YouTube finally did what it should have done. Yeah, this is Armake, also known as Marcus Sparacio in the real world, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the creation of this video, both secrets you might not have noticed, and other things. Primarily, on the technical side of things, I know the video looks like shit. This is back before YouTube made the big transfer to these large-ass windows, and all this HD technology was involved, and so forth and so on. And this was on my oldest laptop, my Dell Inspiron 9100. I love that laptop, don't get me wrong. And it still might work if you plugged in an external keyboard and monitor in the sound piece that I'm using right now and everything else. But chances are it's not going to function that, and I can't find the battery adapter for it, so yeah. It'd be a piece of ancient technology back when they were still making desktop replacement laptops with the real processors in them. Right before Dell found their stranglehold with the XPS models. So anyway, big rigs, let's see. What can you say about big rigs? Well, the first thing was why do people love this review so much? This is one of the most lackluster reviews I've done, in my opinion. Stuff like Widget was like way more inspired. Like, it was just, I had more passion about bashing the living hell out of it. Big rigs was like, I don't know. It had been requested. And I said to myself, okay, let me do this. How hard could it be to review this game? I know how broken it is from past, like, what I read and stuff. Firing it up, of course, I realized this game is worse than I heard, because it's an unplayable train wreck disaster of a game. Something else you're going to notice about this commentary versus the video's commentary is that I'm not really going to curse or swear my head off or anything like that. Like I've said many times, it's just, he's a character. Armake21 is a character. He's an angry, angry, angry person who has nothing but rage towards everything. But even in this video, he's a little laid back. I'm not gonna detest on that one. Let's just say, I think at the time when I was doing this, I was getting tired of yelling and screaming at video games. Maybe. It comes and goes. It passes, it weans. I like it sometimes, I don't like it. It depends on my mood. Right now, I haven't been able to get angry at video games, and this is one of those last times where I generally got pissed off halfway in. Like, at one point, I'm really angry at this game for even having to sit here to waste my time and play it, because it constantly crashed, and I had to constantly reload it, and constantly reset up fraps, and it was ridiculous. My hard drive was tiny at the time, and recording this thing was a nightmare. It was like a true disaster. In any other word, that's all I could describe it as. It was like a nuclear bomb going off inside of my computer, my laptop, my computer, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, not much to say about this. Technical-wise, this game crashes a lot. Despite how Despite how broken it is, it crashes a lot. It doesn't matter what OS you use, it doesn't matter what graphic card you use, none of this crap matters. But it feels like a broken-ass game that wasn't finished in, like, the hell's that game studio called? 3D Studio A5. I think I mentioned in the review later on how I could make a better game, or how he could make a better game. Could I make a better game with some time and energy? Yeah, I probably could. I think anybody could. I've seen fan stuff made with multimedia fusion that's about 100 times better than this, and people there didn't even have any spriting quality or technology to work with, and they've made much better games in their spare time. For free money. They charged for this, so there was definitely a reason to get pissed off at it. But a funny thing about that previous bit is that I said I want to show the video, I want to show sequences in this video that aren't shown in other videos people have done at big rigs, and what did I manage to do? I managed to pick the same two fucking levels that everybody's used in the past. Also, the songs, the first one is from the Pulp Fiction soundtrack, I think it's called Flowers on the Wall. The second soundtrack being used, this one here, is from Star Fox Assault. It's the first track on the soundtrack. I don't know the name off the top of my head. I also use a song from Immediate Music at one point, and I know for a fact Trigun's theme is used at one point too. But yeah, just a mixed match of music thrown in to keep me from going insane while playing this. Because this game could drive you to insanity. Mainly because the sound effects are so loud, and that's all you hear. There's nothing. You can crash into everything. You hear nothing if you can crash into something. You can barely crash into anything. You could see literally how it's glitching through the floor right there, actually. Fucked up this. I fucked that line up royally. It was supposed to be, let us ship this to America and watch as Mother Russia reunites itself. It was supposed to be something like that. See, that's the main problem with doing these things on the fly. Commentary's got to come right out of your ass. And it's got to sound funny, and it's got to be generally solid. And believe me, I go through many takes. I'll later upload some of my shit takes to show you just how bad I screwed up, or how close I was to completion, and then just I lost it. Sometimes I laugh too. Originally, I used to cut out when I laughed because it didn't fit the character, but later on, I kept it in place for some reason. But man, looking back on these videos, I sometimes forgot how much I had this guy complaining. It's damn near endless. Yeah, tell them the specs like they mean anything now. Those specs could be shit on nowadays. There's not really much to say about this game. Aside from the fact that it crashes and it's terrible, there's really not much else to say. One of the hardest things to do when reviewing any game is to elaborate on it based on how much footage you've shot or how much footage you play through and record, and then trying to match that up with good dialogue or vocals that can make somebody laugh or just keeps you entertained while this is playing. If this manages to keep people entertained, then I did my job, and that was when I realized I actually did a good job with this review, because it doesn't actually bore you. If you had to sit here and watch this game or play this game as it is, you'd last 5 minutes before you're crying in boredom. It literally is that bad. I feel like falling asleep watching this. And mainly, it's like everybody else always laughs. They say your videos are so great. Some of these videos, they literally put me to sleep. A lot of my older work, I don't like. This is one of those reviews I don't really care for. Many people ask you why that is, or like, what do you mean? It's funny, we laughed, this is like a classic. I don't particularly view it as a classic. The main reason is, it's an endless barrage of crappy footage of a game that you get the picture, a minute in, that this is a piece of shit. There's no reason to devolve to this point. But one of the trickiest things to do when reviewing a video game is make entertainment out of nothing. And especially if it's a bad game. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's not true. I could sit here and talk about Super Mario Bros. 3 all day long. But then, if you went back to it now versus what you remember in your childhood, you might find it's a little bit different, a little bit harder, trickier. You don't remember everything. I'll give you a perfect example. I was playing Legend of Zelda not long ago, and I discovered I couldn't figure out what to do or where to go. Now, as a child, I figured it out somehow. But as an adult, I'm lost. I literally had to go to GameFAQs. I'm not embarrassed to tell you. I felt really stupid after doing so, because then it started to come back to me, but it took a good half hour before I remembered the same thing. And when it comes to reviewing these games, sometimes, no matter how old and how classic it is, as people state, you still forget, you still don't remember, and you still don't mention things. Recently, in my review for Wet, people were up my ass about the whole part that I left out, No One Lives Forever, and its skydive shootout sequence, and I apologize for leaving that out. It's a very cool sequence. But you know what it was, too? I just didn't remember anymore. I played so many games at this point, I've literally kind of forgotten or have neglected certain games from my memory at this point to keep track of everything coming out or everything that I recently played or what I reviewed that you haven't even seen. There's a good 35, 40 reviews I've done that I've never actually uploaded for reasons of my own, or just because I never got around to it, or the fact that I felt they were just completely pieces of crap at the time, because my level of what I could say and do past the Armake character when I broke into context sensitive, I like it better because it was edited, for one thing, and the second thing was it didn't rely consistently on the whole idea of rage to keep it going. It could actually be entertaining without the consistent F-bombing, but at the same time, the cursing became synonymous with this character, so I always felt I had to stick with it. A lot of times the cursing is forced at certain points, and you could hear it. Turok review, definitely. There was a lot of forced anger in that one, because it really wasn't that bad. It was hard to do any coverage of it, and I just wanted to show that it was a pretty decent game, despite what a lot of reviewers had said that it was a total piece of crap. I don't even know where these reviewers get their stuff sometimes. Like, do they play the same game I did and a lot of other people did, or did they just pick something out of a hat and go, okay, this is bad, this is good? There's various reviewers I've gone up against, like Jeff Gertzman, who I don't like specifically. I know he's on Giant Bomb now, or whatever the hell it is, and he's changed his whole tune, but at the same time, the guy just pisses me off. He's funny for a bit, and then he just drains out. He can't maintain, like, if you watch their review for Rogue Warrior, which is rather funny in the beginning, they run the cursing joke into the floor in like 2 minutes and a half because they overdo it and never let up. You gotta let up at points. You can't just consistently do it over and over and over again. And just saying fuck, fuck, fuck is not funny. You've got to enunciate with it, and if you don't do that, then it's not funny. The snafu line was funny, but after a while it just grated on my nerves and I couldn't watch it. And going back to some of these old reviews, it's the same thing. It grates on my nerves. I can't take it. F this, F that, fuck this game, screw this, kiss my ass, drop dead, it's the plague. It gets really old, and I'll talk more about that later on. But in the meantime, enjoy the videos as I'm re-uploading them. I'm going to re-upload the top 10 favorites, and I'll do more, but, I'm also going to do commentary for each of them, so you further understand that I don't like some of this stuff, and that I really do want to change what it's been about and what it's probably going to be in the future when I come back to this, because I am coming back to reviewing. I'm just not going to do it the same way I used to do it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope I didn't bore you too much.